Is Nintendo the modern day Mafia? That's right, enjoyers, I said it. The same company that brought us that Mario Kart rage and cozy nights with Animal Crossing might just be one of the most controlling, protective, and downright ruthless corporation in gaming history. Enjoyers, today we're diving into the side of Nintendo they don't put in their directs. Lawsuits, patents, and power moves that make you wonder, are they protecting their art or gatekeeping from their own community? Now, enjoyers, before we jump in, I do want to clarify, I love Nintendo's games. They're creative, nostalgic, and a lot of my fondest childhood memories are indeed playing Nintendo games mainly on the Nintendo 64 and even GameCube, Game Boy, and of course, Game Boy Advance. And honestly, there's nothing else like their touch in the industry. But this video isn't about hating on Nintendo, it's about asking real questions. Are the business practices behind all that magic really what's best for us gamers? And should Nintendo start focusing a little more on putting more value on their audience and fans instead of just focusing on protecting their image? Because enjoyers, lately it feels like Nintendo's been caught in the same cycles, dealing with the same controversies over and over again. Stuff that Xbox or even PlayStation don't even get dragged into themselves. So why is that? Can Nintendo actually be the cause of their own problems because of the way they operate? In this video, we're diving right into that. Okay, enjoyers, here's the thing. We all love Nintendo, and like some of you, it's a love and hate relationship. They've created memories that shaped us. Pokemon, Zelda, Smash Bros, Mario, icons that basically shaped and defined the gaming industry we now find ourselves in today. But behind those bright worlds and original soundtracks that teleport you back in time when you listen to them, Nintendo runs things differently, and sometimes aggressively differently. Fans and journalists have been calling out a pattern. Nintendo doesn't just protect their IPs, they control them, like a mob family controls its turf, and in this case, digital turf, folks. The underlying question isn't whether they're evil, it's whether that control helps or hurts the gaming world we all love and know. And let's begin with the vault, Nintendo's golden archive of classics. Rumors and community discussions point to one frustrating truth. Nintendo's been gatekeeping its older games. The pace at which they release classics on Nintendo Switch Online feels like a drip feed. A few titles every couple months, while thousands sit locked away in history, or even in memory. Oh, and emulation? Forget it. Nintendo comes down on fan-made emulators harder than Bowser on Peach's Castle. They've shut down ROM sites, slapped takedowns on fan projects, and even blocked fan remakes, all in the name of protecting their intellectual property. Now, to be fair, folks, Nintendo does have a point. In statements, they've said this is about brand control, piracy, and licensing complications. And sure, old games aren't as always easy to re-release. Contracts expire, and some codes do get lost in time. Now, enjoyers, this is where the frustration hits. If you're not going to preserve the classics properly, and you won't let the fans do it either, who's left to carry the history of gaming? Now get this, not too long ago, a fan actually modded a Switch 2 prototype and showed it running Nintendo DS games. Flawlessly, I might add. I can't show the video here, well, because I don't want to deal with Nintendo's Mafia lawyers, but if you're curious, look up Switch 2 DS emulator demo by Modern Vintage Gamer. And there is a silver lining. Nintendo recently filed a patent hinting that the upcoming Switch 2 could officially support DS and 3DS games, which sounds awesome if they can actually follow through. Now let's be honest, that could be collateral. Another move to just tighten their grip on nostalgia and make sure only they control when and how those games come back. That's the thing, enjoyers. Fans aren't trying to steal, they're trying to preserve what Nintendo built. But instead of embracing that passion, Nintendo often fights it. And that's where this whole Nintendo Mafia idea comes from. It's not about violence or crime, it's clearly about control. They decide who gets access, when, and how. And if you cross them, well, strike, you're out. Speaking of crossing Nintendo, let's talk lawsuits. This is where your reputation really earned that Mafia nickname. As reported by Torrent Freak and The Gamer, Nintendo just won a lawsuit against a streamer named Jesse Every Game Guru. And for those of you who don't know, he's a guy who streamed pirated Nintendo games before launch. He even taunted them online, bragging about having a dozen burner channels. And well, that didn't age well. The court ordered him to pay a hefty $17,500 fine for copyright infringement. Now, this is pocket change compared to another case Nintendo has with Gary Bowser, a hacker who ended up owing Nintendo $14.5 million. He even served prison time and will be paying Nintendo for the rest of his life. Some fans called that level of punishment excessive. Others said, hey, he broke the law. Now, this raises a question for us enjoyers. When does protecting your brand cross the line into bullying your own community? While most of us do agree, piracy is most definitely wrong, the way Nintendo hunts it down feels, well, personal. They've gone after modders, emulators, developers, fan remakes, even people who just posted gameplay of unreleased titles. It's like Nintendo runs the cleanest, most cheerful gaming cartel on Earth, complete with a plumber for a mascot. Now, this part, enjoyers, might shock you. Nintendo's power plays don't stop at fan projects. They've even extended into the courtroom wars against competitors. Recently, as covered by GamesFray and The Gamer, Nintendo filed a lawsuit against Palworld developer Pocket Pair, claiming the game's creature capture system was basically Pokemon with guns. Sounds wild, right? But here's the twist. Japan's patent office rejected one of Nintendo's creature capture patents, saying it wasn't original. And to be frank with you folks, it really wasn't original. They tried to patent something that already existed in games like Monster Hunter, Ark, and even their own earlier Pokemon titles, and some fans even say earlier Final Fantasy titles. Now, it doesn't just stop there. The US Patent Office is now re-examining another Nintendo patent for summoning characters in battle, something that's been in RPGs since the early 2000s. So while Nintendo fights to hold on to its creative crown, the world is beginning to ask, is this protection or monopoly? When a company tries to own mechanics, not just characters, but gameplay systems, it limits creativity across the whole industry. That's when you start seeing other devs scared to innovate, afraid Nintendo might swoop in with another lawsuit. And for us gamers, that's not good. Not good at all, folks. It's less innovation, less experimentation, and fewer risks. Okay, now to be fair, enjoyers, Nintendo isn't the villain of gaming. Their consistency, attention to polish, and creativity are unmatched. When Nintendo releases a game, you know it's going to work. No massive day one patches, no broken messes, no cash grab DLCs dropping every 2 weeks. They're one of the few companies left that still puts gameplay first. So maybe this is extreme protectionism, doesn't come from greed, maybe it comes from pride. Hey, maybe Nintendo doesn't want its legacy diluted, its characters misused. And honestly, in a world where AI clones, leaks, and copycats show up every day, it makes sense to defend what you've built. But there is a thin line between protection and control, between honoring your legacy and choking your own community. If Nintendo wants to keep its image clean and its fans loyal, I believe it might be time to evolve that strategy. Not by letting everything go wild, but by building trust in its fans a little more. Enjoyers, lately I've been reading a book called Community by Peter Block. And the author speaks about something called a restorative community. It's basically the idea that a healthy community doesn't focus on what's broken or who's to blame. Instead, it focuses on what's possible, on creating a shared future that everyone can take part in. A restorative community builds trust, connection, and collaboration. Basically, it invites people in instead of pushing them out, which is similar to what my mission and objective is with Enjoy Gamers. I want us to grow together and give value back to you. Now, enjoyers, I bring that question to you. Imagine if Nintendo leaned into that. Instead of shutting down fan projects, they could highlight them. Instead of silencing creators, they could collaborate. The energy of their community could become a force of restoration, preserving their legacy while evolving it together. I truly believe this is the world we're evolving to, where companies who put the consumer or community first prevail. Imagine if they teamed up with the people who are making emulators for Nintendo, or that guy who just recently modded the Nintendo Switch 2 to play 3DS games. They could definitely reach out to him and see how he made that possible, so they could implement it themselves into their own hardware. They look at these people innovating as threats instead of looking at it as opportunity. At the end of the day, gamers just want to play, whether that's through official channels or fan projects made out of pure love. Nintendo's magic has always been about joy. And maybe, just maybe, the next evolution of Nintendo isn't in their console, but in rebuilding a community that feels trusted, heard, and included. So enjoyers, what do you think? Should Nintendo start empowering their community more? Maybe not in the criminal sense, but in how they run things. Yeah, they're old school, structured, secretive, sometimes ruthless. They protect what's theirs, like a family business that never forgets a favor or a betrayal. But love them or hate them, Nintendo is still the heart of gaming. Their creativity shaped childhoods, built friendships, and gave us memories that defined what fun means. They've given us joy for decades. They just need to remember that joy belongs to everyone, because a company's true legacy isn't just in its products, it's in the community that carries them forward. A restorative community doesn't divide, it uplifts. It doesn't gatekeep, it grows together. And if any company has the power to lead that kind of future, it's Nintendo. Oh, and enjoyers, if you hit that subscribe button, you're officially part of the enjoyers community, where our mission is to make gaming a more positive and uplifting space for everyone, because at the end of the day, gaming brings us enjoyment. If you made it to this part of the video, please let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I'll be reading them. And as always, this is Hurricane Games signing out.